Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems for GMAT out of this book here, the GMAT Review, the official guide. If you do not own this book, purchase it immediately. You should be able to find it at mba.com. The problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 185, problem solving number 240. The exact same problem you will also find in the newer edition, the 12th edition, which is right here. The 12th edition, the same problem appears on page number 184, problem solving number 223 in this book. They are exact same problems. Let's get going. It's important that you have the book in front of you, otherwise you will not follow my work, otherwise you will not be able to follow my work. Read the problem with me so that you know what's going on here. It says seed mixture X is 40% ryegrass. Alright, so here's my X. Is 40% ryegrass and 60% bluegrass. And seed mixture Y, I'm told, is 25% ryegrass and 75% fescue, I believe is pronounced, but I don't know, and I don't care. Doesn't matter. In the real exam, don't fuss about it. Nobody's going to give you extra credit for it. We are told that if mixture X and Y contain 30% ryegrass, in other words, if we were to mix X and Y together, then the resulting mixture has to be 30% ryegrass. That's what we are told. The question simply is, what percentage of the total weight of the mixture is X? In other words, what is the composition of X and Y? What's the ratio of X and Y in the total mixture? Alright, fine. It's an algebra problem, obviously. I hope you're able to see that. It's an algebra problem. And therefore, the best way to solve this problem is without the algebra. Plugging in is what we use here. The technique called plugging in, where you make up numbers. I'm going to show you how to do it here. There are two ways of solving it. If you're very good at algebra, if you're confident in algebra, if you know how to set up the equation like that, and if you're very good at solving it, great. Kudos for you. If you're not one of those people, then your only salvation is this other quick and dirty way that I'm going to show you, which is what I call quick and dirty way, because it's unconventional. As I said, there are two ways of solving it. One is what I refer to as the classical way, the traditional way, the orthodox way, the geeky way, the nerdy way, the proper way, the academic way, the way that makes your math teacher proud of you. My answer to that would be, the hell with the math teacher. Let's just solve the problem and just move on with our lives. Alright? So let's solve it then. I'm given 5 answer choices. My logic is that the correct answer, whatever it is, obviously has to be one of these 5 answer choices. So why don't I take one of those 5 answer choices, put it back in the problem and see if it works. Usually I like to start with the happy medium, C. I don't know why right now in this particular problem I have this uncontrollable urge to start with 50% because it's easier to work with. So let's start with 50%. I'm going to assume that this is 50%, this is 50%, so I'm going to plug in numbers here. Let's make this 100, let's make this 100. 100 what? It doesn't really matter whether they're 100 kilograms or 100 ounces or 100 pounds. It makes no difference, 100 units. So if that were the case, then as you can see there, we have 40 of rye here, and we have 25 of rye here. This and that. That's 65 out of 200. Well, we know that 30% of 100 is 30, and therefore 30% of 200 is 60. This is 65. This is more than 30%. It doesn't work. That tells me that the answer choice D is too big. Answer choice D is too big. Let's try something smaller. Let's try C. 40%. Let me do it in a different color. 40%. I was going to actually cross out all the numbers here and redo it, which is what I would do in a real exam. But here I'm going to set it up separately again. So here's my X, here's my Y. And before we plugged in 100 and 100, since we're talking about a 40% and 60%, it'll be easier to plug in a different number. How about 400 and 600? So here's your ryegrass, here's your bluegrass. And we're not interested in bluegrass, we're only interested in ryegrass. Ryegrass, I'm told, is 40%. 40% of 400 is 160. And how do I know that? Because if it's 40% of 100 is 40, it's just 4 times as much. 4 times 40 is 160. And here is 25%. 25% of 600. 25% of 600, half of 600 is 300, so it's 150. As you can see, 150 plus 160 is 310. 310 out of a total of 1000 is still more than 30%. This is 31%. This is more than 30%. So this is still too big. C is too big. C does not work. Answer is B. That's it. We are done. We know that the answer is B. But to convince you, I'm going to actually do it out for you so that you can see it. Let's do answer choice B here. Here's my X, here's my Y, and answer choice B says that X is 33% of the resulting mixture. 33 and 1/3 actually, they're very precise. So let's do it then. So to make 33 and 1/3, the nice number to plug in would be 100 and 200. So see, this is 1/3, this is 2/3, 33%, you see? X is 33% of the total mixture. So here again, my rye is 25%, 25% of 100 is, oh sorry, 40% here, same as here. And here, my rye is 25%, 25% of 200 would be 50. So I get 40 plus 50 over 300. Where is the 300 coming from? 300 because 100x, 200y, so this is the total. See, the top is rye, and the bottom is total. Total is 300. 100 plus 200. That's 90 over 300. 10% of 300 is 30. Therefore, 30% of 300 should be 90. There we go. Voila, we're done. Which of course we knew all along that the answer was B, because when we tried D that was too big, and when we tried C it was too big, and we were very close to it. This is 31%, so it's got to be B. That's it. Now I'm going to show the same. Now I'm going to solve the same problem in the conventional way, the proper way, the orthodox way, the geeky way, the nerdy way, for those of you who have uncontrollable urge to see how it is done in the classical way. Alright? Let me just look at the time. Now, as the adage goes and as the cliche goes, don't try it at home. Here, what applies is that don't try it at the exam, because there are too many ways you can mess it up. There are too many ways you can muck it up when you do it with the algebra. Just keep it simple. But anyway, algebra in this case actually is not too bad. So here we go. I have x and I have y. Let's see, what does it say here? X is 40%, all right. 40% ryegrass, so 0.4x, and y is 25% ryegrass. If you mix them together, the resulting group, the resulting mixture, this is 40%. This equation represents the amount of ryegrass in the mixture. In the mixture X, 40% of mixture X is ryegrass. In mixture Y, 1/4 of the mixture Y is ryegrass. So this 0.25 times Y represents the amount of ryegrass. And therefore, when you mix them together, that represents 30% of the total, which is X plus Y. And all you have to do now is solve for the ratio of X and Y. That's all, because that's what they're looking for. They're asking you what percentage of the weight of the mixture is X. Since we already know that it's 33%, the ratio has to be 1/2. For every 1 unit of X, we have to have 2 units of Y. Just like here, for every 1 unit of X, we have to have 2 units of Y, which is what I expect to find here. So let's figure it out. So if you bring the X on the other side, Y on the other side, Y on the right hand side, you end up with 0.4x minus 0.3x, so that's 0.1x equals 0.3y minus 0.25y, should give me 0.05y, and therefore X over Y should be, see, the equal sign are not lining up. My math teacher would not like that. Should be 0.05 times 0.1. If I were to multiply the top and the bottom by 100, I will get 5/10, which is same as 1/2. 1 to 2, as I said before, 1 to 2. For every 1 unit of X, there are 2 units of Y. And since they are asking for the percentage of X in the mixture, X is Don't say 1/3. It's not 50%. This is where they get you, which is why it's important that if you're going to do the algebra, that you're conversant enough, you're skilled enough, and you're alert enough to not fall for these things. You see, people who solve it this way, if they're not very careful, they look at half and that says 50%, they end up picking 50%. This is not 50%. This is the ratio of x and y. This is the ratio of x and y. This is not the ratio of x over the total. For every 1 unit of x, we have 2 units of y, which means in the total mixture, x is only 1/3 of the total, y is 2/3. There you go, which is where your 33% is. X is 33%, 33.33% of total. That's all. Again, give me a second one more time.